From being the most populous state of the US to being the fifth biggest economy of the world, from its mind-blowing landscapes to its rich cultural institutions, this place inspires awe. Yes, we are talking about the Great California. The city with the Golden Gate Bridge, the Pacific Coast Highway, Disneyland, the Death Valley National Park, and the list can go on and on. But do you know the fact that this city is close to dying? It is actually quite unfortunate, but this is the reality. Now you must be thinking, how can a state die, and especially a state like California? Before we dive into the topic, let's just say that California has been fighting a long battle, and mind you, it's not with any state or entity, it's with Mother Nature, or more specifically, the ocean. Yes, you heard that right, and unfortunately, the state is very close to losing. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the facts of why California is close to dying. And just wait till you see all the facts that we're going to be showing in this video, something you would never even have thought of, so make sure you watch till the end. Before we begin, you can help support our channel by becoming a member of this channel. Press the join button below. This will help us to bring you more awesome explainer videos. So now let's cut to the chase. You must be thinking, how did this war even start? Let's take you a little back in time to 2016, when bizarre weather patterns resulted in the rapid erosion of 30 feet of Pacific coastal cliffs within a single year. Yes, that is a lot. There were strong, extremely powerful waves that whipped against the coastline and weakened the base and eventually created an imbalance that resulted in the evacuation and condemnation of several apartments and businesses. Now imagine yourself in that position. It is still a nightmare. Do you know that the entire damage that resulted out of this accounted to over $16 million? Hang in there, there's more to this. California runs on $36 million annually, so this damage definitely cost the city a fortune. The harsh weather patterns also resulted in over 90% of Northern California's beaches and around 80% of Central California's beaches to face shoreline retreat erosion. Do you know the fact that over the last 100 years, the sea rose to only 9 inches in California, but scientists have predicted that the end of this century will witness the surge to be greater than 9 feet? How scary can this get? What else can we expect? Climate change is real and it is very much happening right now. There is wildfire, there is drought, and there are extreme weather changes going on in California. And of course, this reality has hit the city and state really bad. The state's coastline is eroding with every storm and tide, and nothing is being done. The world is getting hotter day by day, glaciers are melting, and the impacts of the rising ocean have already entered through the front door of California Pacifica. If you run a quick Google search, you'll find hundreds of pictures of crumbling seaside cliffs in Pacifica that have brought down the most luxurious buildings. Balboa Island, a harborside community located in California, is spending around $2 million in order to make a wall to separate itself from the ocean. So the questions that now arise are, should California also be building a long, huge wall of concrete against the ocean? You will be surprised to know that over $150 billion worth of property could be at the stake of flooding by the end of this century, let alone the economic damage that all this will cause, which will actually be far more devastating than the world's worst wildfires and earthquakes. The reasons behind the chaos. So what exactly causes this sea level to rise? There are actually 2 major reasons associated with this, and both of these are directly linked to global warming. The first one is the expansion of seawater as it begins to heat, and the second one is the additional water volume that arises from the melting ice. Researchers who have deeply analyzed the glaciers melting in Antarctica and Greenland see this situation as an action-packed cataclysm characterized by extremely heavy ice shelves collapsing into the ocean and sheets of decaying ice sloughing off in the continent. The heavy power that is created by a tide of ice is way too strong to compete with. Time and again, water has proved itself to be one of the most damaging as well as transformative forces of Mother Nature. Since warm water creates more energy that hatches stronger storms, many scientists claim that in the near future, sea will assault the coasts on a more frequent basis, with of course much greater strength and magnitude. If we have a quick look at California's past winter, we see that already happening. In addition to this, the scientists are also warning about the intensified El Niño events, which mixed with rising sea levels will result in massive flooding and king tides. The repercussions of these will spread to commuting times, the ability of the first responders to reach an accident spot, and most importantly, the overall road conveyance. According to the latest statistics, over 200,000 individuals reside in California's low-lying coastal areas, which are, of course, under the constant threat of flooding from the rising sea levels. California's coastal highways and roads are also at risk. The consequences of the rising sea levels are just bizarre. The most scary part of all this is that over 80% of California's population resides and works in coastal counties, which is why it is estimated that around $10 billion worth of property in California will be washed away by water by 2050. It's already giving us the shivers, isn't it? Current situation. It's also quite unfortunate that the city is also running out of water, and actually really fast. The issue of water shortage in California has its roots in how the city stores and harvests its water. Well, it's quite unusual though, and we will explain what is unusual about it. It has a lot to do with snowpacks. If you don't know what snowpacks are, let me explain it to you. These refer to the snow that accumulates at the peak of the mountains over the winter season. After each snowfall, a fresh coating of snow is replaced by the previous old coating, and this cycle is repeated. This creates a thick reserve of water that serves as a natural reservoir. As spring season starts, the snow begins to melt and the runoff is gathered in dams and human-made reservoirs, whereby it is harvested as well as treated. The excess runoff replenishes groundwater and keeps the system going. Now, you must be thinking that this sounds like a cool process. Where exactly is the problem then? So the actual issue is the snowpacks, which have been massively decreasing thanks to climate change, because of which longer summers and shorter winter seasons are taking place. Specifically with regards to the year 2015, which was the worst year in the history of California. During this year, the water content was only 5% of the annual average, which is the lowest recorded in the past 150 years. You must be feeling the pressure that the state would have faced during this time. All this coupled together forced the farmers in the Central Valley to start relying on groundwater, but again, this strategy also came with its own set of problems, given the fact that groundwater is highly unregulated and not as evenly dispersed. In addition to this, there is limited supply of groundwater, which implies that wells have to be dug extremely deep in order to gain accessibility to the water. Do you know that a pump has to dig 2,000 meters into the ground to gain access to the water? Can you even imagine that? So what is happening now? Farmers are drilling faster than the groundwater can be replenished. The results of this are evident in the form of increasing water prices. The farmers are spending over $500 million to access groundwater. Water is definitely more of a luxury in California rather than a basic need, isn't it? There was a time in history when the water system in California was considered as a state-of-the-art. People used to admire it all across the globe. The system drove an economic engine that enabled the state to thrive and flourish, bringing prosperity that was never witnessed before. Unfortunately, the neglect that was portrayed over the last 40 years by people brought an end to this golden era, and because of this, the sustainability of the state has come under direct threat. With all this happening, California is in quite a turmoil. The battle against Mother Nature is indeed very hard, and of course there is not much the city can do because everything comes with a huge cost. Climate change is very much real and its repercussions are evident in California. The sea levels are rising extremely fast, the state is running out of water, there is constant threat of flooding. The future of the city does seem quite uncertain at the moment. All of this is indeed a red signal to the planners and policymakers of California who need to incorporate sea rise projections into their future plans pertaining to buildings and safety now. And there you have the full facts about why the state of California is close to dying. Did you like what you saw? Let us know in the comments down below. Share this video with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fantastic explainer videos. See you next time.